Wrapping up The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. Now, I've done a number of weeks already, both as videos and live streams, and then life just got me and recording didn't happen. Now, since I'm not one of those do as I say, not as I do people, if you watch some of the early weeks of this, I did mention that if life kicked you in the nads and you had to take a break, then take a break and then come back to it when you're ready. So here I am on week 10. And week 10, ironically, is recovering a sense of self-protection. Now, this was my third time going through. I continued reading even though I'd hit a glitch in terms of sitting in front of the camera and recording, but it doesn't mean that I stopped thinking about or working on what was happening with The Artist's Way. What I did find interesting is it didn't have the same impact this time, and as much as I've enjoyed it, I still have a lot of exercises to complete. And to be honest, I think a big part of it is just all the cuckoo happening in terms of the weather here in southwestern Ontario. It's been uber hot to uber cold within a matter of days. There's been the fires that have had such a horrific impact on people both in Canada and the United States. There's, all the political nonsense, and I'll behave and not say what I think about some of those people. So here we are on week 10, recovering a sense of self-protection. And part of that for me has been acknowledging that I wasn't feeling comfortable in front of the camera. I just haven't felt up to a whole lot, actually. Part of that had to do with medication changes that went off the rails, and I don't ever want to go through that again. It's trying something else, and let's hope this one works and things just continue on an even keel from here on out. So, with the sense of self protection, Julia mentions in her book, and I did mention that unlike the Listening Path, a series that I've already done in videos, for The Artist's Way to complete it, you really do need to get a copy of the book. And as I've also said, work through it at your own pace. And if life happens, then life happens. I believe things come up for a reason. So don't, get all too stressed about it didn't flow the way it was supposed to. Sorry, Julia Cameron, I know there's a contract at the front and you're to stay on track, but 2026 has been an especially difficult, challenging year, not just because of the weather. And I think this year, even though I promote it anytime, self-care, don't be getting down on yourself, and one day at a time. So she does mention in the beginning, this week we explore the perils that can ambush us on our creative path. And so, yes, I got ambushed. There were things with my mood, with pain levels, just other stuff. I mean, thankfully, my husband's surgery went well. He's fine. Everything's on the up and up. Panther is doing well, and he's good with his meds. Tiki, of course, is her little mischievous self. I figured once all that was taken care of, then everything would just start to flow for me. And nope, here we are a few months later, and that didn't quite happen. But I'm recording now on the 1st of August, so fingers crossed, here we go, onward and upward. Week 10 begins with dangers of the trail. And Julia is talking about all the different things that come up or just get in the way of our creativity. Some of it we create ourselves. One example she gives is for many people, work is the block of choice. Busy, busy, busy. They grab for tasks to numb themselves. So, creating or getting caught up in different things, volunteering to do everything so you don't have the time to focus on yourself. There are a lot of different things that can get in the way. Some we can choose to modify and change. Others, of course, we need to get things done. And of course, you have to be at work to pay the bills. But it's finding that balance that works. Great quote on page 164. If you're a fan of Farscape, you'll recognize the name of this person. Saying no can be the ultimate self-care. That's by Claudia Black. Now, another quote that I selected, this is page 164 again. We begin to sense our real potential and the wide range of possibilities open to us. That scares us. So we all reach for blocks to slow our growth. If we're honest with ourselves, we all know which blocks are the toxic ones for us. Clue: this is the block we defend as our right. So again, it's making that choice, doing that self-assessment, and figuring out what is it that's blocking your creativity. Is it something that really needs your time and attention right now? So as in me not making videos for a few months, yes, I needed that time to regroup, re-energize, regain my focus. But, there's other times that we're either afraid to take the risk or just jump in and see where things go. And that's the big part of doing the honest self-assessment. And I also, on page 165, blocking is essentially an issue of faith. Rather than trust our intuition, our talent, our skill, our desire, we fear where our Creator is taking us with this creativity. Rather than paint, write, dance, I'm going to add record, we pick up a block. Blocked, we know who and what we are, unhappy people. Unblocked, we may be something much more threatening, happy. So think of when you've wanted to do something, whether it's recording, perhaps writing a chapter or a short story, whatever your creativity is, and think of how you felt when you went ahead and did it. Were you happy with the results? Did you enjoy the process? Again, this whole program is about being open and honest with ourselves, making ourselves feel better, identifying what's holding us back, what do we need to overcome, and what are the different steps we can do to get there and living our best lives. The next thing that Julia talks about is workaholism. Now, this isn't a term that had been very popular back when I first started doing this program well over a decade ago. And yet, on page 166, she does mention workaholism is an addiction. And like all addictions, it blocks creative energy. Now, again, this is having to do that assessment of what is it that you need to do in your work day? Can you leave work at work and have that separation between work and social personal time? On page 167, she has a quiz to go through to identify whether that is an issue for you. And yes, it used to be for me, and long before I actually ended work. I mean, I would still bring things home, but I was definitely not doing what I had done in the first part of my career and the number of hours that I'd put in. And on page 169, she does talk about Workaholics Anonymous meetings are springing up, and these may help you enormously. I'm guessing based on the name of that, again, another 12-step program. I mean, the format of it may have started with AA and Bill W., but it certainly changed to a wide range of issues that people do find helpful working through it. And of course, you have that support with other people to talk with. She goes on in the chapter to talk about drought, as in dry seasons. Maybe you just can't think of what you want to talk about if you're a YouTube content creator. If you're a writer, maybe you're struggling to come up with ideas for a short story, a novel, poetry, whatever type of writing that you do. And just realizing that happens to everybody. Not everyone is going to be a Stephen King where you can just constantly be pumping things out. And again, realizing that's okay. Make use of that time, spend time doing other things, and accept that, this too shall pass. She goes on then to talk about fame. And on page 171, she mentions fame is a spiritual drug. The point of the work is the work. In other words, it's not about the number of views you get. It's not about the number of books or paintings you sell. It's about the actual creation of whatever it is you're producing. The perk or the bonus, of course, is if you put up a video and it gets a number of views, a number of comments, if you've produced a book or a play, people going to watch it, people buying it, all of that is secondary. Producing the work is the priority, because in order to get all those other perks, you have to have something created first. On page 172, try approving of yourself just as you are, and spoiling yourself rotten with small kids' pleasures. Again, it doesn't need to be big things. It might be a book. You might go out and get some craft supplies. You might go out and get an ice cream cone. Whatever those little joys are. Could be tea with a friend. So again, assessing what is it that brings you joy. It might be time sitting outside just listening to the birds. Whatever it is that brings you joy, make sure that you're doing more of that and rewarding yourself for being who you are in this moment. We all have things that we need to tweak, fine-tune, and work on. It's part of being human, but that doesn't mean that we can't appreciate and accept who we are in the moment and keep moving forward. The next thing Julia talks about, of course, is competition. The important thing is don't be comparing yourself to other people. And again, I'm going to compare this with YouTube. Yes, there are other channels that may grow faster, get bigger, get more comments, and that's fine. I mean, 20 million videos up a day, that's a lot of competition. So any views that your video gets is a win, because there are a lot of different videos going up. Not all, of course, in the same genre that you may be uploading to, but either way, be grateful for any view that comes your way and keep focusing on what you're doing, what you uniquely have to offer. You're unique. You're going to talk about things differently than someone else. So don't get caught up in the, oh, but other people are doing better, yada, yada, yada. Of course, you may want to get some ideas from the other channels. Maybe there's things that you can pull into yours, tweak, fine tune to make it yours. Don't copy other people. That never works. And there's a quote on page 174. The spirit of competition, as opposed to the spirit of creation, often urges us to quickly winnow out whatever doesn't seem like a winning idea. This can be very dangerous. It can interfere with our ability to carry a project to term. So again, if you're looking at somebody else's channel and that's what you're basing success on, you're taking away from what you have to offer. And instead of taking the chance of doing things your way, maybe you hesitate or you don't create it at all, meaning you're not going to know if it was a great idea. So, you're better off to just give it a go. And if you have to fine tune or tweak it later, fine. But you at least know from having taken the chance, taken the risk, whether it was worth doing at all in the first place. That concludes week 10. The next section in the book are the various tasks that she has. Number 2, I really like the idea of touchstones. Some people carry literal stones, so it's a reminder of, having to take a breath or taking a step back. There are so many different things that you can use, and again, it's identifying what is it that's going to work best for you. There are a number of different activities that she mentions. Of course, these focus on self-care and feeling good about ourselves, looking at how much progress we've made, and as always, it ends with that weekly check-in of what did we discover, what did we learn, maybe we need to do a little more work in certain areas. Let me know in the comments down below, have you ever worked on the Artist Way? Did you find it to be of benefit? Next week, we move on to recovering a sense of autonomy. That is week 11. And until next time, remember, be safe, be well, and big hugs.